Hey everybody, Jesse here from the PlantStock channel. Today I thought we were going to talk a little more about Oatly that just IPOed yesterday. If you haven't seen that video, take a look at the upper corner. Just a few days ago, I speculated that this company could maybe start producing fake cheeses in the future and what that would mean for their future growth. And actually does seem that it could happen soon. So that is what we're going to focus on today, but also talk about their recent $1.4 billion that they raised through their IPO and how that money is going to be used. Today, I don't have access to my camera, so as you notice, you won't be able to see me today. I hope you can bear through. And as always, I would truly appreciate an early thumbs up since it does help spread the videos to more people. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you want to keep getting more information regarding PlantStock companies like Oatly, Beyond Meat, and the Tattoo Chef to name a few, make sure to subscribe and don't forget that bell button. Thank you folks, I truly appreciate your help. Now if we just take a look at the stock chart, ticker symbol OTLY, and NASDAQ, we can see that pre-market, it is up about 7.40%. So looking pretty good. As we know, yesterday it started at $17, but really for us normal people who don't have a lot of wealth as of yet, we had to actually be happy around $22 opening up. So it's kind of down for us right now since it did land at 20.20 yesterday, which was from $17 up almost 20%. I think at its height, it was actually up around 32%. But it does seem that a lot of people are still interested. So it does seem that Oatly is actually starting to eye the plant-based cheese market, which is exciting news, of course, especially from a new company that's just IPO'd. Even though they're not very new, they've existed actually for about 27 years. According to the CEO, Tony Peterson, it does seem that they're in good progress on developing a fowl cheese product. It's considering creating a lineup of different oat-based cheeses in the long term with types tailored for local markets. And this is what Peterson said specifically, quote, "That is a really interesting area as well that we're looking into already today. Our innovation is not centered around milk only. And as we know, they are specialists when it comes to making products based on oats." And according to this article from Bloomberg, it does seem that there's a vacuum in the space of plant-based dairy products. And there's different reasons for that. But one is that when it comes to most people out there, a lot of people can give up eating meat. And a lot of people can also think about not using typical dairy products like milk. But when it comes to cheese, that's an indulgence that a lot of people, or most people, actually don't want to sacrifice. And I have met a lot of people who function like that. My girlfriend, when we met, she wasn't vegan, and she told me she could eat vegetarian and she could stop with milk and definitely meat and fish. But giving up the cheese was almost impossible. And I've heard a lot of people doing that. Of course, it wasn't impossible, as I showed her that there are the ways you can eat, and there are pretty okay cheeses out there now. But normally, as it states in this article, one of the problems has been that there aren't very good plant-based alternatives out there when it comes to cheeses. And that is why there is a vacuum, actually. But this is something that Tony Peterson, the CEO, wants to change. As they noted here in the article, cheese is quite complicated to make, and most vegan cheeses use starches to create the texture. Peterson said, "We believe we can do it in a different way." And that does sound interesting. So again, there seems to be a vacuum now, and considering that there's plenty of countries that really love cheese, not to say not only France, Spain, and Italy, right? A lot of countries really like cheese, and considering that they are moving into these countries now ever so slowly, and if they have a new cheese product, that could make a huge difference, right? Folks, what do you think about that? Let me know down in the comments. We have another plant-based company out there that we talked about a lot on this channel, the Very Good Food Company, or the Very Good Butchers. And as we know, they just acquired another plant-based cheese company, which is called the Cultured Nut, which is a company that's now part of their portfolio. They own that company, and they're actually selling them under a new name called the Very Good Cheese. And according to a lot of my subscribers, they've tried that cheese and it is actually really good. I haven't tried it myself, but it's supposed to be made by using cashews, and I've heard about that too. That's usually something that makes it really creamy and gives it that cheesy flavor. So yeah, we'll see what kind of magic Oatly can make when it comes to using oats. So a conclusion on this then. So the fall cheese market seems to be ripe for the taking, given that the competition is quite meager. Yes, there are some reasons for this, but given that Oatly is a specialist when it comes to creating wonderful food products out of oats, I do see it as really a good possibility that this will happen soon, rather than later. If anything, this CEO, Tony Peterson, seems to be a leader that moves on his instincts. He won't likely let a good opportunity pass him by. Proof of that we have on the new facilities that he's building. Which takes us to the other article. What are they going to do with their $1.4 billion that they raised through the IPO? So how are they going to spend that money? And basically, if you haven't seen my video from before, take a look at it here when the CEO talks about this in more details. But basically, their ambitious plan is actually in motion already as of yet, but with this money that they've just raised, they are planning to build 3 new facilities, right? Which is going to be across 3 different continents. And these are supposed to be finished in 2023. And it's going to include ones in Singapore and in China. And I imagine the Chinese market could be a really huge player. As we know, they are already started selling there and it's going well as of yet. And we know that right now they're selling at about 60,000 retail locations across the world and 32,200 coffee shops worldwide. And as he states, it's going to be a big year for us. But we also have to remember, something we should keep an eye on is that the company's been taking quite high losses. In 2020, about $60.4 million, which is almost a double from the year before, which was $35.6 million. But something that we could feel good about is that the sales surged from $204 million in 2019 to over doubling then $421.4 million. And that is impressive growth indeed. And as the CEO states that even during Rona, the demand for their products has actually gone up more and more, specifically in their special coffee shops. But I mean, considering from 2020, which was during the whole pandemic, right? They still more than doubled their revenue, which is impressive, right? So, and something to keep in mind also, I have read a couple of articles, I'll talk about that as we move on with time, that they are actually expecting to make about $848 or $850 million this year. And considering that if you take a look at the PS ratio right now, it's pretty high. Right now it is trading at about a PS ratio of 30, and that's really high. Tesla is usually around 22, same with Beyond Meat, so they're trading higher than that. But if you count in that they're going to basically double their revenue this year, then that will go down to about 15 in PS ratio. And that's basically where Beyond Meat and Tesla is trading at right now. So that's looking better and better. And I imagine with all the facilities that they're building out now, we can see a huge spike in revenue in the coming years. And let's not forget, this is a huge growth company. It's expanding rapidly. It's disrupting a whole industry, which is the dairy industry, right? It's a $1 trillion industry. So I do feel that there's a lot of room to grow here. So it's nothing strange at all that a company is getting heavy losses, especially when they do expand and keep putting money into R&D and new facilities to help them expand. So I'm not worried about that, but it is good to be cautious and keep this in mind before investing in the company, or depending on how much you plan to invest in the company. And as we've talked about before, when it comes to the stock price and the valuation, it went from $10 billion in valuation up to almost $12 billion right now. And it does seem that it's going to be higher than $12 billion pre-market, right? It's about 45 minutes before it opens up the market, so it will probably be trading higher. And there is a possibility, as we talked about, when it comes to popular IPOs, and given the volatility of the ongoing market right now, the uncertainties, it is a chance that with time, it might take a couple of days, it might take a couple of weeks, and who knows, a couple of months. But I do see that there is a possibility that we'll see this market cap actually going down. So that's something to keep in mind before you invest. And if you invest, and I have already invested a little myself, because this is a company I believe in and that I truly see huge potential in. But again, if you do that, I would say dollar cost average, but also think long term, right? It is trading heavy now. So think long term, 3, 5, 10 years ahead. All right, folks, that was it for today. I truly hope you got some value from today's video, and if you did, make sure to smash that like button. And if you want to keep getting more information regarding Oatly or other plant-based stocks, make sure to subscribe and don't forget that bell button. Thank you, folks. And don't forget, this was not financial advice. These were just my own thoughts and opinions. It's important to do your own due diligence and invest safe. I hope you have a great Friday, and I hope to see you soon, hopefully tomorrow. Peace out.